and slope-intercept form. First, we're going to look at some vocabulary. Slope is the constant rate of change between vertical distance and the horizontal distance. This means change in y over change in x. The vertical change is how it rises, and the horizontal change is how it runs. You might have heard it as rise over run. Change in y over change in x means how does from point to point, from one point to a second point, how does it change in the y-axis, divided by how does it change in the horizontal axis, which is the x-axis. A linear function is any function whose graph is a line. Linear means line. A linear equation is an equation in two variables. Therefore, it must have the equals sign to make it an equation. The standard form of a linear equation is ax plus by equals c. This form allows you to find your x and your y intercept. A, b, and c are constants, and a must be greater than 0. For your linear equation to be in standard form, your a value attached to your x, so the coefficient of a, must be a positive value. If it is a 0 value, then you have no x value. The same for b. If the b value is 0, then you have no b value, and therefore you have no y variable. Equals to c. C is a constant. C is any type of number that you can have as long as it is real. The y-intercept is the point at which a non-vertical line crosses the y-axis. The y-intercept is a coordinate where the x value is equal to 0. The x-intercept is the point at which a non-horizontal line crosses the x-axis. This again is a coordinate where the graph crosses the x-axis. This would be where the y value is 0. Slope-intercept form is a special form of a linear equation. Y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope of the line and 0, b is the y-intercept. Slope-intercept form allows you to distinguish the slope and the y-intercept of the linear equation. It takes the standard form equation and it converts it into slope-intercept form by solving for the variable y. This allows us to again easily distinguish which part of the equation is the slope and which part of the equation is the y-intercept. The next part is just to know the differences in the slopes of a line. You can have a positive slope where the graph goes up and to the right. So as the x's increase, the y's also increase. So as the graph goes towards the right, the graph will go up in value. The line rises from left to right. So as we go from left to right, the graph is increasing. This is a positive slope. A negative slope is when the line falls from left to right. So as we start from the left side, it decreases in value as we move from left to right. These equations are noticed by y equals a positive mx plus b, and then for negative slope is a y equals a negative mx plus b, because the m in slope-intercept form represents the slope of the graph. There are other types of slope. There are two special types of slope. We have a zero slope, which is just a horizontal line going left to right. It stays at a constant speed, or it does not rise or fall as you move from left to right. This equation is written as y equals just b, because this has no slope. Zero slope means the x value is gone because your slope was 0. 0 times x is 0, and it no longer exists there. An undefined slope is the most uncommon that you will see, especially in a calculator, because you cannot have an undefined slope in your calculator. This is a vertical line. This is when your x value is equal to a number. An undefined graph cannot be graphed in the calculator. You get an undefined slope when you have any number divided by 0. That is when you have undefined. A zero slope is when you have your change in y is 0 over your change in x is any type of number. You are allowed to divide 0 by a number, but you are not allowed to divide a number by 0. This is undefined. Sorry, I spelled that wrong. Undefined. Any number divided by 0 is undefined. But any number, or any 0 divided by a number, you're allowed to have. This would be equal to 0. As long as you do not have 0 in the denominator, you are fine.